What is up, guys? This is Zypha here. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. So as you can see in today's video, we're going to be going over everything that's been added to the 7.3.0 mid-chapter update in Dead by Daylight. I do want to say it's been a while since I've done one of these kind of coverage videos about just general updates besides chapters. I've not been consistently doing them for a while now, so I do apologize. But I figured in today's video we would do that, and we've had obviously the anti-camping feature which has been added. The Skull Merchant has been reworked. There's been a bunch of things, and I will later on be including some gameplay playing as the Skull Merchant just to see what it looks like in a live match. But we're going to get into it without further ado. So just taking a look at the forums website. So first and foremost, Tome 17 did open today as I'm recording this. It is the 11th of October as I'm recording this. I'm not sure when you guys will be seeing this. Hopefully the 12th at the very earliest. But yeah, so we've obviously got the new Tome, which I'm pretty sure is Halloween themed. I've actually not taking a look at it yet. So scrolling down a little bit now, we're going to go onto the content. So first and foremost, for killer perk updates, Furtive Chase has had a few tweaks. So you become obsessed with one survivor, you lurk in the shadows, eliminating your victims one by one. When your obsession is hooked, gain undetectable and a 5% haste status effect for 14, 16 or 18 seconds, obviously depending on your perk rarity. A new functionality which didn't exist before. This obviously is the perk for Ghostface. I'm honestly not too sure how that perk worked before this update because I never really used Furtive Chase apart from on Ghostface. But let me know what you guys think about that change. And then for survivor perk updates, we have background player. So when the killer picks up another survivor, background player activates for 10 seconds. When you start running, break into a sprint at 200% of your normal running movement speed for 5 seconds, which previously was 150% for 4 seconds. This perk cannot be used while suffering from exhaustion, and the perk causes exhaustion for 60, 50 or 40 seconds depending on your perk rarity. So yeah, they have upped the percentage by 50 and an extra second, and I don't really know why this was necessary, but I'm not complaining. At least now you get an extra second of time and some extra speed to either get in there for the save a bit quicker or just to completely ditch, you know, get away from the killer quicker, I guess. So that's all for perk updates. We're now going to move on to the updated killer, which of course is the Skull Merchant. So for Eyes in the Sky, the Skull Merchant begins the match with 6 drones. Press the power button to deploy a drone, which conducts an invisible continuous sweeping scan. If a survivor is detected, the drone becomes active, which makes the drone's scan lines visible. Once detected by a scan line, a survivor gains scan immunity and cannot be detected by other scan lines for 3 seconds. Survivors can attempt to hack drones. Failure activates the drone and partially fills their lock-on meter, and success disables the drone for 45 seconds now, rather than completely disabling it and sending it back to the Skull Merchant's inventory. Basically, in summary, they've removed the active zone cylinder. So the drones, you cannot see the zone, like the radius that the drone is operating at when it is active. And honestly, I've been kind of wanting that ever since the get-go. Like ever since the chapter dropped, I was vouching for that to get removed, because although it seems convenient, especially from a survivor perspective, like, oh, I know where the drones are operating, I feel like as a killer, that's annoying, because if the survivors can see it, that just gives them all the more reason to avoid the area. So then they know where all the drones are operating, and the only reason they'd have to enter that area is if they're forced into that area by a killer in terms to, you know, get into a loop or to find safety like a pallet and whatnot, or if there's literally a generator in that zone and they have to go in there because it's one of the remaining generators, then fair enough. But otherwise, survivors have no reason to run into a zone if they can see where it is, and I'm happy they removed that now, because it only shows once they've activated it. So once they've ran into that zone, it will activate the radius, which originally showed up the entire time. They've also removed the remote activation of drones, so now you can't activate them across the map. They don't just scan for ages and then just go off into scouting mode or whatever, and then you can manually choose to reactivate them. Now they will only activate if a survivor walks into the radius. The killer now starts with 6 drones. I'm not sure what it was before. I don't know if it was 7. I'm not sure. You guys would have to let me know on that one, but it's now 6 drones, and the minimum distance between drones is now 16 meters, and the drone radius is now 10 meters. I have no idea what those were before. Like I've said in many of my previous videos, I'm not very good with specifics. When it comes to perk numbers and just general specifics, I tend to forget very easily, so I'm not sure what that was before, but that's what it is now. We're now going to read out the radar ability, so press the ability button to open a radar to see the locations of survivors detected by drones or those with claw traps. Each survivor detected on the radar increases the Skull Merchant's movement speed. The radar can also recall drones or change the direction of their scan rotation, which you couldn't do before. You could not change the direction of the scans. I don't know how necessary that really is, but for lock-on, the lock-on meter fills when scanned by a drone and when failing to disable a drone. When the meter is full, the survivor receives a claw trap, becomes injured, and suffers from the broken status effect now. Additional scans briefly apply the hindered status effect, which obviously slows the survivor down momentarily. A claw trap broadcasts the survivor's location to the killer and is only removed when its battery dies, so this obviously removes the exposed status effect from lock-on. I don't know how to feel about this. A lot of people said before that the Skull Merchant was very OP, and understandably so. If you stayed in the radius of a drone for a little too long and you didn't deactivate it, you would become exposed, and that would last for like 30 seconds, was it? Or a minute? I'm not too sure. But you're exposed for a pretty long time, and that obviously means you can be insta-downed, and I'm not too bothered that they've removed that. Like, the fact that they've made it the broken status, I mean, it's basically the same thing when you think about it. If you're broken, that basically means you can't heal for a certain amount of time, and you're one down anyway if the killer finds you. So it's basically the same thing as exposed, except exposed can apply to any health state, whilst broken, I'm pretty sure, will just injure you anyway, and then you won't be able to heal for however long, and then you'd be able to be downed by the killer. So I don't know if that's much of a difference, but it's definitely better, I think, because I believe the broken status lasts less time than exposed. I don't know, you'd have to correct me on that if I'm wrong. But also, if I do sound slightly congested in this video, forgive me, I do have a cold at the minute, so just bear with me. So yeah, that's what they've done now for her lock-on ability. Moving on to add-ons now. So there's been quite a few changes. So first and foremost, Valente number 1, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. Effects last until the claw trap is removed. For high power floodlight, the blindness status is applied when receiving a claw trap, and effects last until the claw trap is removed. For geographical readout, there's now increased action speed bonus while breaking pallets and breakable walls, damaging generators, and vaulting to 20%, which is up from the previous 15%. The effect is now applied for 8 seconds after deploying a drone. For high current upgrade, it increases the time survivors appear on the radar when detected. For adaptive lighting, they've reduced the bonus granted to undetectable status to 20%, which is down from 50%, which is quite a nerf. So for stereo remote mic, it now decreases the disabled state duration of drones. For supercharged, it increases battery life of claw traps to 15%, which is up from 12%. For shotgun speakers, survivors with a claw trap have no skill check warning, and effects last until the claw trap is removed. For low power mode, it decreases the drone spawn cooldown. For vital targeting processor, it increases hindered status by 3% when a survivor is detected by a drone. For brown noise generator, oblivious status is applied when receiving a claw trap, and the effects last until the claw trap is removed. For loose screw, the exhausted status is applied when receiving a claw trap, and the effects last 6 seconds, which is up from the previous 3 seconds. For randomized strobes, it increases the hindered status by 1 second when a survivor is detected by a drone. For advanced movement prediction, it reveals the survivor's aura when they receive a claw trap. With ultrasonic speaker, which was formerly called ultrasonic trap speaker, it decreases scan immunity duration now. For expired batteries, it decreases claw trap battery life by 50% instead of 60%, which it was previously, and it increases haste status granted when survivors are detected on the radar. For prototype rotor, it increases drone rotation speed, which obviously didn't exist before, so I don't know if that's a new add-on or if they've just completely switched what that add-on does. But anyway, and then finally for iridescent unpublished manuscript, when a drone is disabled, the drone gains a 32-meter terror radius for 15 seconds. During this time, the Skull Merchant gains the undetectable status effect. Those are all the changes in terms of her add-ons. Let me know what you think about those as well. And for other daily rituals, achievements, loading tips, and score events have been updated accordingly, so that's good. Now, moving on to the Trapper, who's also been updated. When setting a bear trap, the Trapper gets a haste effect of 7.5 seconds for 5 seconds, which is a new effect he didn't used to have. With the Coffee Grounds add-on, it has been updated to indicate that it is an additional haste effect. And when the trial begins, 8 bear traps spawn on the map, which was previously 6. So that's all for the Trapper. Now, getting into other killer tweaks. For the Huntress, reloading hatchets takes 3 seconds now, which was previously 4 seconds. So they've obviously buffed that a little bit, which is nice. For Death Slinger, reloading takes 2.6 seconds now, which was previously 2.75 seconds. So that's also been buffed. For his add-ons, the the Warden's Keys decreases the spear gun's reload time by 0.35 seconds, which was previously 0.5, so that obviously got a buff as well. For the Jaw Smasher add-on, it increases the movement speed by 1.5% while aiming down the spear gun's sights, which was previously 1%, and the add-on Wanted Poster now increases movement speed by 3% whilst aiming down the spear gun's sights, which was previously 2.5. So that's all for the Deathslinger. And for Legion, with their BFFs add-on, you earn tokens for hitting survivors during Feral Frenzy. For the second chained hit, you get 2 tokens. For the third chained hit, you get 3 tokens. For the fourth chained hit, you get 4 tokens. And for the fifth chained hit, you get 5 tokens. Once the gates are powered, if more than 15 or more tokens have been collected, you gain a 6% movement speed boost when not using Feral Frenzy, which was previously 4%. And for the Trickster, this is a very small tweak. Reloading knives now takes 3 seconds, which was previously 4, so that's again another buff to the reloading ability. Now we're going to move on to the thing you've all been waiting for, the anti-face cam feature. Now, some people will be annoyed at this, some people will be happy with it. It really depends on your playstyle. I personally am very happy about this because I fucking can't stand when people camp me. It is a pain in the ass, and I choose not to play that way either unless I'm literally forced into it in like the end game maybe. I choose not to because I just think it's incredibly boring. But if you do play that way, obviously no judgment. I am kind of judging you, to be fair, because I fucking hate being camped. But if you do it, then I can understand why this would be annoying. Survivors on the hook have an internal camp meter now, which fills when the killer is nearby, and the meter fills faster the closer the killer is, but is slower when other survivors are near and never becomes negative. Once the meter is full, the survivor gets a prompt allowing them to escape the hook with 100% probability. Survivors who take this action gain endurance for 15 seconds. Basically, it's like having deliverance. So if you do have deliverance on you and you happen to be camped in that same game, well, then you're going to get 2 different opportunities, I guess, to get off the hook without failure. So that's interesting. This feature shuts off entirely once the exit gates are powered, which is fair enough. And as part of this system, the cannibal can no longer hit a survivor who has endurance twice in the same 0.5 second time span. Now moving on to events and archives. Obviously, Tome 17 commitment level 1 of the new Tome has opened on the 11th, which is today as I'm recording this. And the Haunted by Daylight Halloween event starts October 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which I'm obviously going to be covering on the channel. I'm very looking forward to that. And obviously the Haunted by Daylight Halloween event Tome opens at the event's start time. For the event gameplay details screen, the event pop-up has a new tab where you can view details of the event gameplay. For event currency, the Haunted by Daylight introduces a new reward, Dark Trinkets, an exclusive currency for Halloween events, which is very cool. I'm kind of interested now that they've added another currency. Dark Trinkets are earned by completing challenges and levels within the Haunted by Daylight event Tome, and you can spend Dark Trinkets on cosmetics and charms within the event's collection screen. And there'll also be collection milestone rewards now. So milestone rewards are a set of rewards that you unlock simply by unlocking event collection rewards, and you have to earn all event cosmetics to unlock them all. So that's all for that. Definitely sounds very interesting. I know I say that word a fucking ton on this channel. By all means, if I say the word interesting a lot in my videos, I give you guys full right to just leave a counter. That would be kind of funny. Moving on to map updates, the Shattered Square has been updated once again. Who's fucking surprised? I don't know actually if I'm remembering if it was updated before or if this is the one I was hearing about during the PTB. Maybe I'm getting a bit confused here, but the Shattered Square map received a lot of comments at release. Understandably so. Some issues were related to the objects being low to the ground and hard to see, especially when it came to killers that are navigating with a first-person camera. We did a cleanup and made sure that the loops feel smoother. There were also inconsistencies with our visual and navigation language. Objects were placed in a way that it felt possible to simply climb because of similar angles to stairs or slopes found in other maps. This was resolved by taking away some of the objects or placing assets that matched the collisions. The line of sight was very low and gave the ability for players to see across the map. A clear line of sight can be detrimental for both roles depending on the play style. We have changed the positioning of tiles with higher line of sight blockers to be more predominant. The size of the map was large and we decided to reduce the size to encourage encounters, make it more dynamic, and reduce the time to find interactables in brackets, generators, hooks, totems, chests, etc. Yeah, I'm honestly happy about that. I did actually see their tweet that they posted a few weeks ago regarding the Shattered Square, and I think it looks definitely much better, and hopefully now I won't be able to collide into these random ass blocks of hay hay and other shit on the floor, which you can't see until you bump into it, and then you end up getting stuck there, which can really slow you down in a chase and get you killed. So I'm happy that they've cleared up some of the shit and they've actually decided to make the map a little bit better, even though the map's still too fucking red. It's just too red. I don't like that map. Never have, probably never will, despite the changes. Unless they do an actual visual change just to the map and make it a little less obnoxious, then yeah, we'll see. But anyway, for MacMillan Estate, they've also updated that. So the maps of the MacMillan Estate realm have been in the game for about 7 years. The layouts and other information have been available within the community for a while, but the entity reminded us to give players a chaotic experience. Therefore, we are adding new variations of the MacMillan Estate realm maps to the existing pool, which is very cool. We're going to get more MacMillan maps, apparently. So can't complain with that. And then for features, they've added bot improvements now. So they've reworked the bot's skill check system, so now the success rates now correlate with skill check size, and skill check debuffs such as the Doctor's Madness or Hex Huntress Lullaby reduce the odds of hitting the skill check. So at least the bots now are getting just a tinsy bit more realistic in some regard. Obviously, we just have a bunch of bug fixes and PTB adjustments, which if you know me very well on this channel, I never read those out because we'll be here all day. There's just too much to read. But if you do want to go and read what's been fixed in terms of bug fixes or just what's been changed since the PTB release of this update, then I will be sure to leave the patch notes in the description so you can go check those out yourself. I think the new Shattered Square is far better than before. I just feel like it's much more refreshing now that they've kind of switched things up a bit. I don't know if I remember the map being a lot more red visually or if that's just me. Like, I feel like maybe that's changed or it's just me imagining things, but overall, I feel like the changes to the map are great. That's just my opinion though. If you think otherwise, let me know. Let me know what you guys think though down in the comments, what you think of the Skull Merchant rework. I personally don't mind. I'm very like in the middle with it. To be fair, I don't feel like it'll make her any more fun as a killer, but hey, let me know. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. And yeah, let me know what you guys think just in general of anything covered in this video, any of the other changes in the 7.3.0 update. I say this all the time and I don't always get comments, which is a shame. I genuinely mean it. Comment anything you think about anything discussed in the video. I love talking to you guys in the comments, so don't hesitate. Just drop a comment. I'd love to hear your opinions. But hopefully this was informative or enjoyable or whatever. If it was, be sure to smash the like button. It would greatly help out the video in the algorithm. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss a single video I post. I am trying to reach my end of year goal of 500 subscribers, so if you can help me get there, that would be awesome. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall catch you guys very soon with a new video. Goodbye.